Hello, welcome to the Dice Tower. I'm Wendy Yi.
And I'm Chris Yi.
And today we're going to be reviewing 2 of the Galactic Cruise expansions. Number 1 is Advancements.
And number 2 is Accommodations.
So we are going to review them separately. Chris is going to give 2 different overviews. We'll have 2 different reviews, and then we'll kind of wrap it up at the end.
Yep. So here we go for the expansions for a game that we both love. One of the 10s I've given out. Let's go over the Advancements expansion. Here's everything that comes in the Advancements expansion number 1 here. In the left, you see just kind of the more stuff of what you already have. So more agenda cards, another cockpit and engine, more of these upgrade tiles, and then more for the expert workers. Some of these do tie directly into the new modules. So let me point out the 3 main new modules. The first is the advanced technology. So this one here, whichever one of these 4 that you use in the game, you're going to, when you choose it for the game, you'll place one of these little technology trackers on this spot. When someone develops this technology, just like in the original game, they have access to this power, but every time they utilize it, they will advance the tracking cube forward. It will eventually move to this last spot where it is an upgraded technology, so instead of offering 1 bonus, it actually offers 2. Along the way, though, you skip over these spots based on player count, so if you are playing 3 and 4 players, you'll use all of these spots. If it passes this symbol here, this development becomes one more expensive resource or money for someone else to later develop it after it's already been used multiple times. So these are similar to the ones that come in the base game, and they just have that little level up ability. The next module down here is going to be these bonuses that cover the action spaces themselves, location bonuses. So they start typically face down, inactive. Once there are a certain number of the developments, the gears, next to that action space, it'll flip over. Meaning now that any player who comes to this spot is going to gain $1 or a money for every of their own developments next to it, or reputation, or victory points, advertising, resources, or if you have 2 of your own gears next to this, you get to draw a card. So little bonuses for certain action spaces, and you still take the 2 actions next to it. And lastly, kind of the biggest module here, these are the advanced blueprints that have the cabin matching module. So unlike the base game where all of the cabins are right in the middle, you see these ones are offset left, center, and right. And so as you build them into your cruise ships, you have to try to match to some degree in order to make these cabins able to hold visitors. So now looking here really quick, some of these are going to affect technologies. Some of these modules here swap out an expert for a basic worker, immediately take an action next to one of your developments. But over here, this one is going to allow your expert worker to be placed into a spot for its first action, move to a second spot to take its second action. And this one here is going to allow you to take one of the unused technologies and place it into the middle of the board, the middle of the worker placement board. And when you have an upgraded worker, you now have access to this technology. If you have both of your expert workers, you have this technology at the second level. So that's all the modules for Expansion 1.
So starting off with cabin matching, this is the module I want to talk about first, and I think it's garbage. I don't like it.
Huge thumbs down from me, dog. No, I really just dislike this because it doesn't add anything interesting. It's not more difficulty in order to get a better, as the kids say, there's not extra juice for the squeeze. It's just more squeeze.
Yeah, it adds more randomness to a lineup of cabins that's already random, that you're already searching for the proper colors and the right victory points that you want for the certain cost. And so this just adds more complicatedness, and it makes it even harder to get your people on cruises. And this game is all about the cruises, and so I don't want it harder. I don't want it more difficult.
I see this being for people who want a little bit more fiddle in their faddle, right? They need a little bit gravel on their racetrack. They don't want their heavy Euro games too smooth. They want
gravel
a little
does
bit more to
nothing in
fight.
space, Chris.
Gravel does a lot in space. But anyway, yeah, the point being that I think it's for people who just want to complicate the game, and I'm not. I think that the game is buttery smooth, and I want it to stay that way. So it just adds I greatly dislike this module.
There's no benefit that I feel like comes from it. No extra enjoyment or extra engine building.
Yeah.
Now, the Advanced Technologies module, I do feel like adds that extra benefit. There is a little more juice in the squeeze, or more squeeze for the juice. I don't even know how that saying works. But the upgrading it and the work that you put into fighting to get there first and use it before somebody else has the opportunity to come in and use it, I think that's really cool because it helps you specialize. And so it feels like you have this thing that makes you stronger and better than everybody else.
I love the technologies in almost any game like this. I love them in the base game. And I think this is just nice. The difference between the first level and when it's fully advanced is not huge per se. Mm-hmm. But this is a game where every little resource, every little dollar, every money matters and stuff.
It's impactful.
So yeah, it is impactful to the point where I think that you will tactically say, oh, Wendy just developed that tech. Should I get it now before she has the chance to use it and make it more expensive, even though it's not fully upgraded? Or later in the game you might say, well, that's expensive, but I could use that power at the upgraded level. So yeah, I'll go into it. So I think it adds enough, and it's not too complex to run it either.
Yeah, and one thing that I like about all of these expansions is that you can mix and match all the modules, and then some of the modules have alternate variants. And so one of the variants in this is where you can actually start the game with all of them completely leveled up, so they are a bit more expensive to hop into from the get-go, but then automatically, you have -2 marketing whenever you market someone, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you have those upgraded benefits from the get-go.
And the last module here, every module is mix and matchable except for the 2 blueprint ones.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You have to pick one set of blueprints to work with.
Let's talk about the location bonuses. These are little tokens that you seed out at the start of the game. Once there's a certain number of your gear developments, that's when they flip over, 3 or 4 in a 4-player game. And it just makes that spot worth, hey, 1 or 2 extra reputation for you. Hey, an extra money or point or something like that. I like this one. It's not a lot of extra rules overhead, but it's enough that it kind of makes you change the way that you might play. So, like, well, I could build a gear here or here because I'm going to go there next, right? It's just enough that it kind of incentivizes you.
I think that it does add a little bit more of that feeling of ramp up, which I appreciate, and I find that to be very endorphin gaining. The actually remembering to flip them over when there were the right amount of gears sometimes got forgotten. And so you just have to be aware that there is another upkeep step along things. And once again, this is another one of those that has a variant. So you could start with them all flipped over and just from the very beginning, be able to use them.
Yeah, but I like the idea of them building up because at some point you're like, ooh, now this spot is special. And I could place my worker somewhere else and use but I'll go there because it's special. And especially because I want you to bump me out of that later. So it adds a little bit more than just on the table. It adds it kind of here at eye level where you're saying, where am I more likely? Yeah, where are you going to bump me kind of a thing.
Yeah, I can see that if you wanted a little bit more of that. So I'm coming in at a 7 with this expansion. I don't like the cabin matching at all, but I do really enjoy the other 2 modules in it, and I enjoy the little bit of more that it adds as well. And so I feel like that is enough to recommend it for me because, it's just a side of cardboard. That one little box. I don't have to add that in, but I do feel like the Advanced Technologies is my favorite part about all of this, and I think that adds just a good level of interaction with each other and that kind of race, as well as that building.
For me, this is a 6.5, which is a far step down from the 10 that I give the original, and that's because I really dislike the cabin matching module, which is most of the physical componentry in this box, but it's a third of the modules that I really dislike. And the other 2 modules I think are good. They have their positives, but they're not so impactful that I think you better get this one. So it's a 6.5 for me. Likely, if you already enjoy the basic game, you're going to want just some more variety. But with that, why don't we talk about expansion box number 2, Accommodations. Here's everything that comes in the Accommodations expansion number 2 for Galactic Cruise. Once again, on the left side here are the more of the same type of things that you've already seen. Some of these do deal with the new modules, so new agenda cards, but not all of them deal with new module stuff. I think only Ship Tours does. Over here, the new advancement tiles. These are more reputation, a one-time use, and then this is to activate one of the special rooms that we'll talk about shortly. There are new technologies, and they come with both regular versions and the advanced versions from like the first expansion. So you see Index Reservatory comes in either basic or the leveling up one. The new upgraded worker tiles, the expert workers, both deal with having an expert worker being the one piloting the cruise ship. So this one allows you to advertise planet-side for one fewer advertising, and this one allows the cruise director to also go around and shop during space days. So, and it counts as any color. So let's talk about the two main new modules here. So the first of which is the starting upgrade cards. If you've played Terraforming Mars Prelude, this is that. So each player is going to be dealt two of these, and they get to pick one. They get to upgrade one of their upgrade tiles and place it into a slot here, giving them that ability for the rest of the game. So this person could build a gear immediately for four money less, and now their basic workers count as expert workers for the whole game. This player can choose between which two that they want, and you see that these include the new upgrade tiles from the expansion and even from the previous expansion. And so you start the game with something already taken off your board, maybe giving you more income. And you also start with one of the abilities activated. So maybe you'll get more resource income, and you'll be able to get every item that you pass on the reputation track. And everyone makes their own choice from these. So that's Module 1. Module 2 are going to be the specialized blueprints. So you see that these tiles here have more on them, more symbology than just the basic room tiles. These actually each behave differently. So when on space days, you may take a guest that is of a matching color and place it into this slot here, and then you'll activate the bonus shown on the top of it. So some of these are going to give you more resources. Some of them will give you specialized actions like trigger an income or refill one of the items, one of the resources from the market, gaining the bonuses along the way. Gaining money per matching icon that you have here. Every one of these blueprint tiles is different. And so there is, in the company records here, the guidebook basically, all of the specialized segments are already printed in the original rulebook and the original company records there. So you can see what they all do, some of them giving you full actions and stuff whenever they're activated. So specialized blueprints, these tokens you just put out to remind you, instead of gaining a purple income, in the top right corner of the board, you instead activate your own ship rooms. So there you go. That is the accommodations expansion.
All right, so let's talk about the specialized blueprints. These do that same cabin matching module effect as in the first expansion, but it adds in those interesting room benefits. And I have to say I'm a little bit like 50-50 on this because I really hate the cabin matching a lot, but also the actual cabins, the abilities on them are really cool. And one thing that I find to be a little bit of a low point the more I play Galactic Cruise is that all of your orange passengers do the same thing in space. All your purple passengers do the same thing in space. And so I really like that now you have a specialization and you can really work towards specific things on your cruise. But I hate the cabin matching. I hate it so much.
I don't mind the cabin matching as much here because the rooms are unique and different, and it slightly makes a little more sense or whatever, right? Or at least you get more juice out of the squeeze. That's how I use that phrase. But
interesting.
Go for it.
Because I think that it adds even more randomness because now I want that room ability and I want that room ability, and I can't ever get them to go together.
Right. Square peg won't go in the circle hole.
Okay.
But here's our little house rule. Just ignore the cabin matching, right? Mm-hmm. I think you could just build these as regular rooms and pretend that they all have a little cabin in the middle, and you're still going to have a fantastic time. That's probably how we're going to play because of feelings that you see. But I still like this a lot because the excitement of having a room that no one else has. My laser tag, zero gravity laser tag, feels different now than what anyone else has at the table. And I like that thematically. I really like that in terms of it makes me really think about, do I want to relaunch the same ship that I've already launched or launch a new one now? Because I kind of want to get that scoring, but I also want to get these bonuses. It adds more in a way that I really like it. And even if you have to play with the cabin matching, at least you're getting something different out of it.
Yeah. I do really like the abilities. I think they're fabulous. So, yeah. I think that we'll just always pretend that there's the cabins match. And that solves my frustration.
Yeah, a little more random, so to speak, or like situational. Some rooms are like, that's great, but not right now, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
But I'm okay with that.
As for the starting upgrade cards, I'm always playing with this from this point on.
In the overview, I called this the equivalent of the Terraforming Mars Prelude cards, right?
Yeah.
I love when games do this. Tzolk'in, I can think it goes back to having, hey, here's 4 starting sticks, pick 2 of them. I love that, right? Prelude, here's some cards, pick 1 to start with. Underwater Cities did this with its expansion. I like when games, heavy, crunchy games, do that because your first few rounds are kind of just those starting, like, you're at the racetrack, the starting pistol fires, and everyone goes, all right, here we go.
Yeah, it gives you it points you in a direction, and it starts your engine building so that you can hit the ground running and you can just enjoy the growth of the game. Because that's what I love about this is I love going on cruises. I love triggering stuff. I love, being able to grab, more income. And so when you start at the beginning, it just feels like, okay, do I want a dollar, a marketing, a point?
Yeah.
And so being able to have those upgrades, just something from the beginning, is so fabulous. I will always play with this.
Because every upgrade is twofold. One is either an immediate huge action, or you make one of your incomes, the little funding bonuses, stronger. And you also get to slot that guy right into your player board. And so you might start the game where every step you move up the reputation track, you gain a resource. From the beginning of the game. I love that.
So nice, yeah.
It basically simulates having launched one cruise already.
Right.
And it doesn't take up cubes in the timer track, so you just get to do a little bit more of the fun stuff. Too much good stuff is kind of the mentality of this. So yeah, it should be no surprise that I love this type of expansion module, right? And so I love this one.
Yeah, so what are you going to give this?
I think... score-wise, it's a little bit tough, right? Because I really like this expansion. Do I think it's necessary? No. But if you're going to get one of them, get this one. So this is a 9 from me because I I love both modules. And I even like the extra, more of the base game stuff. I like the expert workers a little bit more than the ones in the first expansion. Some of the cards, the agenda cards, are a little bit more memorable and exciting. When I see PAL 9000 come up, and you can launch one of your cruise ships without having to use one of your workers because the PAL 9000 is running it. Just that's really memorable to me. So I think that just the more stuff in here is also more to my taste or better.
Just more better. I'm going to come in and add an 8 with this. So if I take it not the Wendy House rule, but I take it actually as the rules are written, I do just get frustrated with that cabin matching a little bit too much to make it that 8.5, to make it that excellence. But those prelude-like beginning, those starting abilities are so nice. And I do really enjoy what those cabins can do if you get them to work out for you.
So I guess ultimately, right, I really love the second one here, and that's the one I would recommend. If you're debating, should I get both of them or not, it depends how much do you foresee yourself playing this game. Because I don't think you need either expansion. The base game of Galactic Cruise
so fabulous.
Has so much going on in it. If you're going to get one, I recommend the Accommodations because it has the 2 modules I like. Fewer modules, but each one's more impactful.
I do agree. I think that if you had them both, my ideal game for this would be with the upgrade cards, the specialized rooms with my fake rule, and then the advancing technologies. I think that would be my ideal game. I
think I would switch between the advanced technologies from box 1 and then another game I'd be like, let's use the special spaces. I would just kind of flip-flop between those, and I would always use what comes in Accommodations, number 2.
Yeah, I don't think I would need everything in all the expansions all the time.
Yeah. All right, well, there you go. That's our thoughts on the 2 expansions there for Galactic Cruise. So if you're interested in picking those ones up, they also fold right into the insert of the base game, so it's not like you have extra room or anything. Yeah. And all the rules are also in the rule book and stuff.
So convenient.
Yep.
All right, thanks for joining us today. I'm Wendy Yi.
And I'm Chris Yi.
And go on a cruise, especially a galactic one, because that'd be really cool.
Go on the Dice Tower Cruise.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another video from the Dice Tower. Hey, you want to learn more about us, communicate with us? We have a Facebook group, we have a Discord channel. lots of different ways to get involved with the Dice Tower. You can find that in our Linktree link below. So just click that, it will take you, and you can communicate with us on Facebook, join our Facebook groups. There's lots of cool things that you can find and become part of the Dice Tower. Thanks so much for watching. I'm Tom Bassel.
I'm going to start it. At some point in my life, I lost the ability to do armpit farts, but I got really good at hand farts.